Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the Yreka City Council meeting for February 3rd, 2026. The time is 6 o'clock. This is a closed session that we're going to go into. And do I have any public comment on the closed session items? As there's no public here, I'll move on to item number 3, closed session. The City Council will recess to closed session to discuss the following item. At the conclusion of the closed session, open session will reconvene and reportable action, if any, will be announced. Item A is conference with real property negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.A for property assessor parcel numbers 041-020-130, 041-030-200, 004-340-020, 004-340-010, 414 E as in Edward 2400, and 414 E as in Edward 2401. The agency negotiator is our Assistant City Manager, Juliana Lucchesi. The negotiating parties are Pacific Corps. And I will go ahead and go into closed session. Evening. I'd like to welcome you to the regular meeting of the Yreka City Council for February 3rd, 2026. And will our Mayor Pro Tem, Mr. Claire, lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This evening, the City Council met in closed session and we adjourned at 6:12 p.m. with no reportable action taken. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Good evening, Yreka City Council. Please let me know you are in attendance by saying aye. Councilmember Davis?
Aye.
Councilmember McCoy?
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton?
Aye.
Councilmember Claire?
Aye.
And Councilmember Baker?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Approval of the agenda. What are the wishes of the council?
This is Councilman McCoy. So moved.
Councilmember Claire, I will second.
I have a motion from Councilmember McCoy, second from Mayor Pro Tem Claire to approve the agenda. All those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Item 7, presentations. This evening, we have Joan Favreau from the Red Scarf Society, and we're very excited to see you. And just as a reminder, we limit our public presentations to 10 minutes. So you're on.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Let me set my timer. I may have to skip some of this. Good evening, Council. I'm Joan Favreau, President of the Red Scarf Society for the Performing Arts. And you've probably heard some of this before, but I'm going to tell you again. Some of you have anyway. Just a brief history of the theater, slide number 1 or 2. We've been going for 22 years. This is a brief history of the theater. In early December of 1975, the lowest bid for the theater was received, and it exceeded the federal grant by $33,000. Nothing more could be cut. If the theater was to be built, this had to be raised in the community. Jim Ekman called Audrey Tyler with this dilemma. Audrey and her helpers got busy, and within a week had pledges of $35,000 and All of them came through. The Guild was formed to help with performances. Soon after, Bob Marshall was selected to manage the theater and bring productions to Yreka. He served from 1977 to 1993, and he had great performances. The Guild disbanded in 1990. Birth of the Red Scarf Society, number 2. My husband and I became acquainted with a young pianist from Poland, Jacek Mazinski. He came to play for music by the mountain in Grass Valley. He needed a piano to practice on while he was vacationing at Lake Tahoe. At that time, my husband was on the Lake Tahoe Music Festival board, and the Mural Quartet were staying with us. One of the quartet members heard Jacek and said, "You're not going to let him go back to Poland and rot." So they asked Jacek what he wanted to do, and he wanted to attend Juilliard in New York City. Danny, a violinist with the Bureau and a Juilliard graduate, picked up the phone and called the head piano instructor at Juilliard and arranged for Jacek to have an audition, and the rest is history. His first semester, he came to Yreka to have Christmas with us. Friends wanted to hear him play. We had to have a benefit project. So with 2 recitals, we had enough money to restore the 1942 Baldwin Model E piano at the theater that was given to the city when the Community Concert Association folded. After members of the community came to us and wanted music programs in the theater, thus the formation of the Red Scarf. Next slide, please. Mission statement. Red Scarf is a 501(c) nonprofit organization that is completely volunteer. Our mission is to enhance the culture, life, and promote the performing arts in the communities of Siskiyou County, to serve as a support group for the Yreka Community Theater, which is owned by the city of Yreka, and to provide educational and music outreach to the students of Siskiyou County. Red Scarf gives 6 concerts a year in the community. They vary all kinds of music. The community has been supportive of Red Scarf. Ticket sales only account for a small portion of our expenses. We very much appreciate our volunteers, our donors, our concert sponsors, our season sponsors, and our concert attendees. Without them, we could not exist. Yreka is lucky to have a theater. Most performers marvel at such a small town having an event center. It must be kept up and it must be used. Also, Yreka is lucky to have a great music instruction in the schools. Other schools are less fortunate, so Red Scarf brings musicians to schools throughout the county, from Doris to Happy Camp, from Dunsmuir to Hornbrook. Next slide, please. One of the first projects for when we formed was to replace the sound system, speakers, and we bought a new sound system, and Steve Leal installed the system. Next slide, please. One of our big projects was the Boulder Project on haiku, Voices of the Siskiyous. Haiku is a Japanese poetic form that consists of 3 lines. The first line with 5 syllables, the next line with 7 syllables, and the last line, the third line, with 5 syllables. Red Scarf received 2 grants from the Community Foundation of the North State. It was the James Irvine Foundation gave them money for arts in the community, and we received one of the grants, and we launched a haiku contest. There was 940 poems that were submitted, and we had judges, and we picked out 10 that were etched on the rocks. Ralph Sterrett etched the poems that line the rocks to the theater. The other grant was to do the landscaping. Shay and Montague gave us the rocks. The city hauled them into the theater, and we Ernie Rosardo did the landscaping and planting. Next slide, please. Oh, there's more of the landscaping. Next slide, please. Siding project at the theater. The siding was falling off. It needed painting. It was just a mess. You can see Judy there with the 2 men that worked on the project. And Charlie Gillingham, a volunteer, worked up a proposal for the project. This started in 2012, finished in 2015. Red Scarf, with grants and community support, raised over $102,000 for residing and painting the theater. Next slide, please. This is more siding, and the city of Yreka did give us a plaque. Thank you. Next slide, please. Other projects, Yreka or Red Scarf Society wrote and was given an award for a grant from Community Foundation of the North State for acoustic baffles. These are baffles that are behind choirs and they project the sound out in front. We purchased Shure microphones for the theater. Richard Rangels, a retired art instructor, helped Red Scarf create a collage with posters of past performances. Red Scarf paid for the supplies. The collage is nicely framed, line the walls of the lobby and the hallway. We have 9 frames, and I think we have more to be done. Also, we bought some letters for the building. They were placed on the main beam that went across, and that beam has really chipped with paint. So I think the letters are still down at the yard. Hopefully they can find them and they can place them. It says Yreka Community Theater. One of our last endeavors for Red Scarf, we wrote a grant for the roof and gave it to the city. The grant was awarded and the city received $100,000 from the Norris Foundation, plus Red Scarf put in $5,000, and this went to replace the roof. Work days at the theater. Next slide, please. Oh, this was one more project. We purchased new furniture for the lobby. We took the lobby furniture and put it back in the green room. The green room furniture was deplorable, so I think that went to the dump, and they got the furniture from the lobby. Next slide, please. Work day at the theater. We used to have work days, but most of us have gotten older and we can no longer get down on our knees. But there is one person that stands out for her gardening at the theater. Jerry Kramer, will you stand up, please? Jerry sold her home and it had a large garden and moved into an apartment. She missed gardening. In her free time, besides her volunteering, you will find Jerry up at the theater and the center, trimming, weeding, and picking up trash. Outreach in the schools. Next slide, please. This was, the first slide was out at Little Shasta with Take 3, and the second side was Adam Swanson, that's ragtime pianist at Jackson Street School. Next slide, please. Our performances for the year 2026. We have a website, redscarfsociety.net. If there's any changes, it will be on our website. Our Facebook page, Red Scarf Society for the Performing Arts. You can see us on Facebook. Our first performance is March 14th. James Gardner, tribute to Johnny Cash. This will be at the Yreka Community Theater, Saturday, March 14th at 7 p.m. Next slide, please. May 2nd, Eagles Tribute Band, Life in the Fast Lane. This is the band from Reno. It's considered America's most authentic Eagle tribute band. This group has been performing since 1993, so it's an old group. But some of their songs are Hotel California, Desperado, Take It Easy, and it is thought to be one of the most authentic Eagle tribute bands. Next slide, please. Siskiyou County Golden Fair, June 14th, free concert on the mall. Cliff Munson picks out the entertainer, Western type tribute band, and members of the Red Scarf give out book packs with books to children 1 to 4 years old, provided by First 5 Children and Families. I have just a couple more to go. October 3rd, Backtrack Vocals. This is an energetic a cappella group from New York City. They do wonderful outreaches in their schools. They will do 2 outreaches and 1 concert, and they make all the sounds from their voices. Next slide, please. October 24th is the 50th anniversary of the Yreka Community Theater.
Wow.
Secret Handshake Band This is a 13 to 14 piece band from Mount Shasta area. Scott Durbin, trumpeter and keyboard, is a big draw. Unfortunately, he may not be able to be there. So he's really been a big draw with a concert that he's given at the community theater. Last concert of our series is, next slide, please. November, and this will be November 20th. It will be held at Preservation. It'll be Kinga and Alex. Kinga is a classical violinist. She's been coming to Yreka from New York City for 13 years. And Alex Tutenoff is the artistic director and head piano instructor at Southern Oregon College. And this is a classical concert. And the last few years, we've had a sellout performance. Thank you. Next slide, please. Thank you. We invite you to attend our concerts. Red Scarf Society is excited to return to the Yreka Community Theater. Next slide, please. When the world feels like it's breaking, music saves our souls. This is a quote by Bruce Springsteen. Thank you.
Thank you so
for
much.
allowing me. Okay. All right. If you have any questions, shoot. And I do have our schedule here. So you,
Oh, sure.
You're having the Eagles cover band is going to be at Rain Rock. Is that because it seats more?
no, it's about the same. The
Did we-
theater could not provide what they need as far as light and sound. Where
Okay,
Rain Rock has a sound consultant up there that they use.
okay. Thank
So
you for letting us know
we're
that.
we're still trying to arrange that. We're pretty sure we're going to be at Rain Rock.
Okay,
We're still in the negotiating process. Okay.
thank you.
We'd love to use the theater, but
We
that's
don't have the accommodations for
for the extra sound.
sound and light.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I
Sound
appreciate,
and
it's good to
lights.
know. Something for us to work
Yeah,
towards.
theater is kind of, we feel, our home. And for years, we've had concerts there for our 22 years. And it's been great that other venues have opened up for us in the last 6 years. So we were able to continue
Yes,
after COVID.
and we
Thank you.
appreciate you coming back, so.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I do have 3 members here tonight. Sal Jarrett, Judy, our vice president, and of course, Jerry, who seems to volunteer often at the theater. Oh, and my husband, Thomas. Don't seem to forget him.
For those of us that don't know, Val Jared is the one that started basically and fostered and grew Concerts in the Park. So now that we're working with, who we work with now, Concerts in the Park.
Discover Siskiyou.
Discover System, thank you. So Val's the one that started that, fostered it, and got it where it was. You got it so popular.
And we're great to have Val on in our group. She's a real great resource.
Oh. Well, again, thank you so much for coming out tonight. Item number 8, public comment. Public participation is welcomed and invited at all city council meetings. This time is set aside for residents to address the city council on matters listed on the consent agenda, as well as other items not included on the regular agenda. If your comments concern an item noted on the regular agenda, please address the council when that item is open for public comment. The city requests that persons addressing the city council refrain from making personal, slanderous, profane, or disruptive remarks. Please speak into the microphone from the podium. The podium electronically adjusts up and down to accommodate the speaker. Please address the council as a whole. Please state your name for the record prior to providing your comments, and please limit your comments to 5 minutes. Do we have any public comment this evening?
Now, Mariatri, I would really like you guys to put the dog license back on the agenda to speak about what we're doing with all of the money that's collected for dogs. Because, you know, I pay $172 a year this year. Next year, I'll be $5 a dog more. And, you know, we don't have a an animal control officer. I'd like to know why. We have enough money to pay for one for certain. And when this whole issue was brought up, Miss Aldridge came up and said that 80% of the dogs were licensed. I'm wondering how much the percentage is now, because I know of 3 households that do not have their dogs licensed at all. One household has 4 dogs. So, it's so expensive now that we can't even afford to license our dogs. I would like this to be brought back and seriously looked at, for real this time, not just a guess and by golly, because we don't really know what it should be. The county does $10, and I know they have a very good, you can afford $10 even if you're homeless. Here though, yeah, wow. I really need this to be brought back, please.
Hi, can you hear me? Can you hear me? My name's Jan Sinnott. I'm the director of Per Angels. Looks like pet night tonight. We have been spaying and neutering feral cats in this community for going on 17 years now. And a few years ago, well, right in COVID 2020, we were able, with some funds that one of our volunteers donated to us and we put away for the rainy day, we were able to buy Dr. Cook's Veterinary Hospital over on Oberlin Road. And so that got us out of a crappy building and kind of into another crappy building. So we've done a lot of things to upgrade it and make it nicer. 4 years ago, we contracted with Dr. Harmony McPherson. She's the veterinarian who is in there now 4 days a week. People in this community absolutely love her, and she's a great vet, very caring. And we're trying to do everything we can to make it comfortable for her to stay in that building. She's in Mount Shasta. Her staff mostly is from Mount Shasta. They would love to go back to Mount Shasta if a building opens up for them. But we want to do everything we can to keep them here, and we really need their service. So as the owners of this building, there is a dog kennel that's only accessible from the inside. You can't see it at all from the street or anything. Most people don't even know it's there. But this is where they keep their dogs while they're waiting to be seen or after they're seen. And because it is not climate controlled, it can only be used in the spring and in the fall if the weather is cooperating. It's super freezing in the winter, super hot in the summer. Plus, it's made of old chain link that's probably 30-something years old. I don't even know. And it's broken and it has injured some animals. So we kind of put the plea out. We got a generous gift last year and we put that money in away. So it's making some money until we can get the plans together. My husband is a designer and he's been working with this and with the Eastlick engineering, structural engineering. We were here this morning for a meeting with the planners and the inspectors and all that stuff. And they suggested I come here and just tell you what we're doing in the future. If all the money comes together and our bids aren't too high, we're going to be able to redo this area with a new roof and lighting and climate control. And we've got local contractors to do this and to do the heating, air conditioning and stuff so that we can use this part of the building the entire year instead of almost none. So that's a really big thing coming up. And you'll hear from me in the future after all this has taken place. I would like to come back and maybe be on the agenda, give you a presentation of what we do. And of course, we're going to ask you for a discount on the permit fees because we're a nonprofit and we do a lot of work for this city under the radar. Okay, any question? Oh, I did want to mention just another thing in passing. As far as animal control goes, that she mentioned, there's a lot of animals being abandoned in this area. I don't know if y'all are aware. Last night, 2 beautiful orange cats were found at the bathrooms on Minor Street Park. Somebody had just dumped them. One of our volunteers picked them up and took them to a foster. I got them into Dr. Essex for spay this morning. The one was ready to deliver 6 babies. They would have been delivered at Minor Street Park, and who knows what would have happened there. Fortunately, somebody did step up to adopt these. That rarely happens, that all these things go together. But it just breaks my heart that almost every day we get phone calls from people who have found abandoned animals. And I wish that there was a way to stop this. It's not just cats, it's dogs. Mostly the cats that are thrown out are pregnant. And this is how our colonies begin. So we're really trying our best to take care of all of that here. Okay.
Thank
Any
you.
questions?
Jan, what do you think, what's your high and low on the entire project that you need to do as far as money goes?
Oh, gosh, well, it's a bunch of numbers were thrown out today, which I hope they're not correct. We, right now, with the structural engineer and the designer, and some other things, are close to $10,000 at this point. I don't know what the permit is going to be. We're going to wait now. We had to have this meeting, and now we're waiting for the general contractor to give us a bid on that. And then, of course, there's lumber cost and roofing cost, and yeah, so we'll have it all together, but I'll have all those numbers for you. Thanks.
Is there any other public comment? I'll move on to item 9, which is the consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and non-controversial and will be enacted by one motion unless any member of the council wishes to remove an item for discussion. What are the wishes of the council?
Agenda, the city council, the city of Yreka, advertised it.
Councilmember Claire, I will second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Middleton, second by Mayor Pro Tem Claire, to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Item 10, public hearing. I'll read the public hearing protocol at this time. Number 1, the mayor will describe the purpose of the public hearing. 2, city staff will provide the staff report. 3, city staff will respond to questions from the city council. 4, the mayor will open the public hearing. 5, public wanting to comment will come to the podium, provide the city clerk with their name and provide their comments. 6, the mayor will close the public hearing, and 7, the council will deliberate and act on the item. And this evening, we have our assistant city manager here to discuss the Community Development Block Grant CDBG application.
Thank you very much, Council. Good evening. So the City of Yreka is preparing an application for the 2025 Community Development Block Grant Programs, also known as CDBG for short. And part of that application is putting together public meetings to solicit ideas for projects for this funding from the general public, as well as holding public hearings. As you'll remember, you did hold a public meeting and public hearing last October last year to discuss adding a subsistence program to this CDBG application. So that is one of the projects that is currently on the list of projects for this application submission. One of the things that we have prioritized as city staff and why we're redoing the public outreach is that we are going to request the city council amend the project resolution to add the fire hall project as a potential construction project. So again, the projects are not set yet, so city council may amend those projects tonight on the resolution that's been provided to you as part of the staff report. So that is open to you at the end of this, and we do request that you approve a list of projects tonight so that we may prepare the applications, which are open now and due at the beginning of April of this year. So going back through it, the Community Development Block Grant Program can fund a number of different programs. So it can do everything from planning, public services, public infrastructure. And so the subsistence program, for example, is a public service program. And so that has a maximum allowable amount of $300,000 that we can request through this funding. Total project requests have to be at 3.6 million. And so the project construction is allowed to go up to 3.3 million for the fire hall project. So just to clarify for members of the public who may be asking, why did we do a tax measure if we're going to go for grant funding? So right now we're planning to put together what's called a capital stack, which is a series of different funding mechanisms to pay for the construction, really the demolition of the existing structures at the Shop Smart property, which we have purchased, and do construction of the fire hall. We're looking at approximately $35 million for that project. So 3.3 million is not a lot of 35 million, but what we're looking at doing is putting together a series of funding mechanisms that would go towards construction. So looking at funding to do the demolition through different avenues like the Department of Toxic Substance Control, through the EPA, there might be some opportunities there, the Environmental Protection Agency. And so we're looking at funding different aspects of the project. We're also looking at funding the project as a whole from many different means. So we're also preparing an application for a USDA rural development loan or potential grant if they're able to give us a grant through that program. So it's the United States Department of Agriculture. I'm trying to get better at my acronyms for people who are not used to it. And so this would be part of that capital stack. And so we're proposing to go for the full $3.3 million for construction for the fire hall project. That being said, we do request that you open the public hearing tonight to solicit ideas from the general public. We did have a public meeting last Tuesday, and I believe the Tuesday before as well, at the Community Resource Center to solicit ideas. We received ideas from the public that include sidewalk repairs, a expanded animal control facility, which unfortunately wouldn't necessarily fall under an eligible category in this grant. But again, we accept all projects at this point for this exercise part of the grant application. We have also received interest in tiny homes, staffing for the food bank, and I did receive an email from an individual who could not make it tonight, who wanted to provide input on reconstructing Ringy Pool or developing a new pool facility, and then also funding a Parks and Rec department. And so the Community Development Block Grant Program is not a suitable program for ongoing salaries or ongoing costs to a department, so I would not recommend those projects to you. But again, construction projects, public services, planning, things like that can be funded through this program. So do you have any questions for me at this point?
Are there any questions? Councilmember McCoy?
Can you go back over? We'd be applying for
A total of 3.6 million.
3.3 to go hopefully to the fire hall.
Correct.
And what would the other 0.3 million?
So the other $300,000 would go to the subsistence program that you have put on the project list
Thank you.
previously. Again, you can adjust those as you see fit. Oh, no, you're good. Yeah, you're good.
Does anybody else have any questions? So I have a question for you.
Yep.
Do we have to name specific projects?
Yes.
Or, okay, so it can't be just a general, we would like money for our infrastructure.
Correct. Yes, you do have to be a little bit specific. So for example, if you did want to change the projects list to do a sidewalk program, we would have to provide some, program language of, public infrastructure, sidewalk replacement or construction, and put that together. So we do need a little bit of a descriptive title for the project itself. So part of this is after we decide on the project list tonight, that's when we start putting the applications together. So Brandy from Great Northern Services has been putting together your subsistence program grant application package after you gave that direction in October. And so there is quite a bit more in the background that we do to set up these projects. And so we do need some descriptors to be able to put that project application together. So for example, if you did want to do sidewalks, we would have to put together project maps. We would have to determine where that is within the city that we would prioritize, how we would prioritize that. So that's just tiny bits of what we would have to put together for the project itself. The reason why we are recommending the fire hall is because that project is so flushed out and it's very straightforward in terms of being ready to build. So we do have the building permit applications in, we have all of the engineering plans complete. So it's a very easy project to plug and play into the grant application at this time. But again, it's up to the council if you'd like to change it.
And is there a stronger possibility of getting the grant if we have more projects listed?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay.
not necessarily, no. It is a competitive grant. So this is typically with the Community Development Block Grant Program, it's called over the counter or OTC, which is essentially you have to have your application ready to go the minute it opens and you're hitting refresh constantly. This year, they decided not to do that. What they did differently this time is it is a competitive grant. So we are competing with the rest of the state of California on these applications. And so you could be funded for one project over another. You could have a partial funding. So they could fund the subsistence program, but not the fire hall, or they could fund both or neither. It depends on how many applications they get, how much funding people are requesting throughout the state within this pot of money, and essentially how good our applications are.
Thank you. And can you go over the public's list of projects and give us your opinion on if those projects are suitable for this grant?
Sure. So going back over it, I'll go over the ones that are in your packet that have been provided from the public meeting on January 27th and January 13th. So we have downtown sidewalk repair, which I have seen CDBG programming used for sidewalk repair. Animal shelter expansion. I did take a look at the application and I don't believe it would be a competitive project, but we can always ask. They do have a fun other category that you can apply for. But again, that's just my professional recommendation or opinion on that. There was requests for homeless services and mental health support, either an expansion of the base camp facility or other outreach services. Those are eligible programs within CDBG, either under public services. Expansion of the base camp, I don't think would be possible with this application because you would need to have site control, or the county would have to have site control and that facility is rented. So I think you'd have a difficult time producing a competitive application for that option at this point. The Yreka Food Bank support, again, is with long-term staff funding. The Community Development Block Grant Program is not a suitable program for long-term staffing. Tiny home infrastructure and purchase. Oh, I do apologize. Those bullet points got repeated under that one. We did have a gentleman come in who is working on a tiny home ordinance in Mount Shasta in other jurisdictions, and he talked about needing funding for the hookups infrastructure for tiny homes to do a tiny home village or some kind of tiny home, like mobile home park type thing. That one, it can go to that type of infrastructure and for even the potential construction of housing units. I don't believe that movable tiny homes would necessarily count because we have to look at essentially we do a cost benefit analysis of construction in terms of for like housing. We have to make sure that the cost to produce that housing can be recouped and there's an overall positive benefit for the community at large. And it's really hard to do that with small scale homes. You typically can't get the price per square foot to work through some of the requirements that are in the application for that to work out. But that's not necessarily out of the realm of possibilities. We can look into doing that if that's the project you would like to do. And additionally, the Ringy Pool reconstruction would be an eligible construction project under CDBG. You do see a lot of parks and recreation facilities funded under it. And again, with the development of a parks and recreation department, as much as I would love to do that for the city, CDBG would probably not be an adequate funding mechanism for that. you have to think of it as initial injection of funds. It's not going to be a consistent thing you can rely upon over year after year. Additionally, CDBG is competitive, and they do look at how you used past funding. And so just to put that out there, the last time we received CDBG funding was during the COVID pandemic. So we participated in 2 countywide programs that assisted low and moderate income households. One was the fresh and frozen produce and protein program, and the other was a subsistence payment program that consisted of rental or mortgage payments and utility payments for those affected by COVID. Those were the last times we have been awarded through the CDBG program. So, does
Thank
that
you.
answer your question?
It does. And I
Okay.
have a question about the tiny homes. You said it was a gentleman from Mount Shasta. Is
Yes.
he looking for a project in Mount Shasta or Yreka?
He was not clear. He was not clear, but he did throw it out there as like what he would want as a member of the public. So when they talk about public participation, it is not just held to the city of Yreka. So people participating either in this public hearing or the public meetings that we host at the Community Resource Center for this cycle, anyone is allowed to come. It doesn't define public as being a resident or a business of the city of Yreka.
Thank you.
Yep.
Can I add something, Madam Mayor?
Absolutely.
I just wanted to remind us all too, that on the sidewalks, we've discussed this at length in my 7 years on the council, and prior to my 7 years on the council and my 10 or 12 years on planning commission. And sidewalks going back to Roman times in the 1100s, sidewalks have always been the under they're not under municipal oversight. They are the property owner's responsibility. Some people disagree with that, but that's the way it's been historically speaking. I think Peter O'Brien, when he was chairman of the historic or of the planning commission, pointed that out at one point in time. I know that when we go to do as a citizen of Yreka, when we go to do a remodel or something like that, we pay for our own sidewalks to be upgraded, or if you're in a sidewalk exempt area, you pay a certain amount for that. But I was going to say, in newer construction, it would be for the it would be up to the developer. But I appreciate that somebody put that down there, and we have talked a lot about that. But I don't see that as something that the city is going to be spending money on. I mean, we've had people on Minor Street that have spruced up their storefronts, and they have put in new sidewalks. And I know it's an added expense, but again, historically speaking, it goes back to Roman times, and that's what I've lived in 3 or 4 places in California, small cities and large cities, and it's always been that way. So I'm sorry, I just want to throw that out.
Thank you.
I do appreciate somebody saying it. Be nice if we could, but
Any other questions? All right, thank you so much. I will go ahead at this and open the public hearing at this time and open it for public comment for the public to come forward to give us ideas, programs for the CDBG grant application. There's no public comment, so I'll go ahead and close the public hearing at this time and bring it back to City Council for deliberation and action on this item. Councilmember Middleton?
I'll just go with a comment, I guess. So I guess I know you said the animal shelter. I don't necessarily know if I know it gets crowded at times, but they do a good job of getting the dogs adopted, but at least that minimal. I'd like to see some money, if we could get it out of the grant, go towards some repairs, because I know there's some daylight that goes through the walls, that water goes through into the kennel area. So at best, I would like to see at least some funds get applied to get it repaired, at least to make it yeah. Yes, to our ACO. So that's what I definitely would like to see, because it's something that's been on my mind, and that's been brought to our attention, myself and the mayors, that it's starting to be inadequate and is starting to really deteriorate. So that's one thing I would like to hopefully see that we could all get on board with. Not, like I said, not an expensive expansion, but it's money to go in and do the necessary repairs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
I'll make one, and I think that if they're going to look at it based on need, I think that a fire hall, we have a fire hall that's 96 years old. The average fire hall in California, our insurance wants to be less than 40 years. 40 is the tops. It hasn't been remodeled in 46 years, Jerry. We haven't done a remodel in it, probably. I mean, we spent a lot of money on it, but not, we haven't done a remodel in 46 years. I think that the fire hall for our public, it does, even with the 1% sales tax, the fire hall is getting that demolished and getting everything ready to go over there, and the land prepped, and and the egress and ingress for the engines and the large equipment is probably the most competitive thing that we really, really want. If the state's going to look at it and, if somebody's going to look at it and go, well, this is really a good thing. A pool is too, but this is basic living. This is what we promise our citizens we'll do. We'll keep them safe, and we will respond to their health concerns. So.
Okay. So what are the wishes of the council?
You okay if I go, or you want to go? Okay. This is Councilman McCoy. I would like to make, I would like to, oh, hang on. I'm sorry. I'm blowing it here, I think. Let me see. I'm going to just say this. I don't know if this is enough for you, Ms. Lucchese. I'm going to make the motion to approve resolution 2026-08 of the City Council of the City of Yreka, approving an application for funding and the execution of a grant agreement and any amendments thereto from the 2025 funding year of the state CDBG program based on what you have brought us today. Is that sufficient?
I'll second that.
All right. And Mr. Jared, do I have you on the line?
Andrew?
There he is.
Hi there.
Hi.
Trying to find my unmute button.
So we have a motion and a second to approve this application, this resolution as presented. I would like to make an alternative motion, and I just want to make sure that I am following protocol. Is now the appropriate time to make that?
It is,
It is?
yes. And your motion would be taken first.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, I would like to make a subsequent motion to approve Resolution 2026-08 of the City Council of the City of Yreka, approving an application for funding and the execution of a grant agreement and any amendments thereto from the 2025 funding year of the state CDBG program to include a project to improve our animal shelter, the city's animal shelter.
Madam Mayor, may I ask a question of the attorney?
Yes.
Mr. Jared, in past meetings, when we have had a first and a second on a motion, you have told us at that point in time, we move forward with the vote. We cannot submit a second motion. Is there a reason why during this meeting, I'm just for parliamentary reasons, is there a reason why we're allowing a second motion now?
No, I I disagree with you. I don't know what you're recalling or talking about. This is proper Robert's rules. When there is a motion on the table, it's appropriate to then have a substitute motion. And then after that, with the number two motion on the table, that substitute motion, a third motion could come up. Rosensberg rules then says after three motions, you're getting beyond what this would allow, and you take the third motion first, then you take the second motion if the third fails, and then you take the first motion if the second and the third had failed.
Okay,
That
well,
is the proper way.
yeah, well, sir, I'm going to disagree with you because this has come up before. Specifically, it came up during the election when we elected officers, and this came up, and you ruled in a different way. So I just want to make sure that we're just not. I'm not questioning what the mayor has said. What I'm questioning is the procedure that we're doing it in, and I'm going to disagree with you, sir, because you've shut us down before. So I don't know why it seems to be, seems to be okay now, but it wasn't okay, say 6 months ago, And you can talk about Rosenberg, you can talk about Roberts, whatever you want. We operate under Rosenberg. But I'm going to disagree with you there, sir. So I think you're playing fast and loose with your authority as our city attorney.
Madam Mayor, it's up to you. I just give advice. This isn't my making a determination. This is what Rosenberg says, is that you take them in that reverse order. You take them in the reverse order presented. And so now, to answer your question, now is the appropriate time. I don't know what Mr. McCoy is referring to. His recollection and mine differ. That's not the first time.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm just going to clear everything up by withdrawing my motion.
I apologize.
Madam Mayor, may I?
Yes.
I think it's completely appropriate to amend a motion when it is in this situation. So if you want to amend Mr. McCoy and my motion, you just say, I'd like to amend that motion, and we vote on that amendment, and that would add to that motion that we have.
Madam Mayor, no, since the motion has been seconded, what is now is the call for the vote.
So I'm going to go ahead and call.
And with all due respect, I mean, I'm just saying he could go back if he wants and look at the tapes of when he's done this to us as a
Mr.
council.
McCoy?
And that's
I believe you can do exactly what I said. You can amend an emotion when it's on the floor. And this one is still on the floor. So if she wants to amend it, that's fine. If she wants to withdraw it, that's also fine.
well, it's been seconded. So wouldn't we be looking at a vote, or because we don't typically amend motions? I'm asking.
Add the amendment, and then you go back and vote.
Okay.
The whole thing.
Okay, so I want to be clear here with the mayor, with the rest of my fellow councilmen, with the city manager, and with our attorney. Anytime that we have a second on a motion on this floor, any of us on council can go in and amend that motion. Correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what Mr. Drake just said.
He wants to hear what you said. He wants to hear what you said.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear him.
He wants to hear what you said.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So what I'm going to do at this
He wants to
time.
hear, Drake, he asked.
I don't know what he didn't hear.
What you just said.
I said that you can
After
amend a
Mr.
motion.
McCoy said something, then Mr.
I
Drake, you
told
said
him-
something.
I mentioned to Mr. McCoy, I believe that you can amend a motion 2 times.
That's correct. I mean, to set the record straight here, let's be very clear. You have a motion. I make a motion to do X, Y, Z. At that point, someone can second it. At that point, you don't have to immediately vote. You then it is appropriate for someone to say, I make an alternative motion. I would like to amend that motion. I would like to make a friendly amendment. Friendly amendment really isn't a thing, but it's polite. Those three things are perfectly legitimate things to do when there is a second right before a vote is to happen. That's the basic thing. Whatever I've said before on this that has been but is being repeated by Mr. McCoy now. I don't know what the circumstances that he's referring to are, but I'm telling you now, this is the way parliamentary procedure works.
Madam Mayor.
Otherwise, you could very easily, to go with what Mr. McCoy is saying, you could very easily shut out all amendments by saying, I make a motion to do X, Y, Z, and someone ahead of time could have said, and I second. And you have no opportunity then to amend the motion. It is perfectly legitimate in parliamentary procedure under Rosenberg's rules to amend motions. It is perfectly legitimate to offer alternate motions. Where it gets dicey is when it obviates the need for the first one. But what's being done here is an amendment. And what has been proposed by the mayor is saying to do XYZ plus something else. That is an amendment. And it'd be appropriate to take her motion and ask if there's a second. She's now withdrawn that. So now we're back to the first. Someone else at this point could offer an amendment to the first motion.
Madam Mayor, I'm fine with your amendment, but let's explain this again. You just said that if somebody puts the motion out and then somebody else seconds it, as Drake did, then we're done. That's what you just said.
No, I did not say that.
No. Do you want us to run this back? Do you want us to run this back so you can see it, sir? Because I'm going to
I did not say that
with you. And this is not the first time you said that.
That is not what I said.
Then you tell me what you said.
Like I said before, you have a first, you have a second. It would be appropriate at that point for someone to offer an amendment to that motion.
Gentlemen,
And that what was done.
to ask that this conversation be ended right now. And we have a motion and a second on the floor.
You can
And I'm
ask,
going
but
to-
I want a clarification. We need a clarification for our attorney.
And let's get that clarification after the meeting. Thank you. So we have a motion on the floor.
You're telling me that
and
we
sec-
can't talk. I can't talk. Wait a minute. No. You're telling me that I can't talk to our attorney on behalf of the council right now? You're shutting me down?
Yes, I am.
Oh, wonderful.
Thank you.
Because I don't think you officially withdrew it, did you?
No, we have a motion on the floor from Mr. McCoy, a second by Councilmember Davis to approve Resolution 2026-08 of the City Council of the City of Yreka, approving an application for funding and the execution of a grant agreement and any amendments thereto from the 2025 funding year of the state CDBG program. Will the clerk please take a roll call vote?
All those in favor of approving resolution 2026-08, please signify by saying aye. Councilmember Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember McCoy.
I've been shut down, although no.
Councilmember Middleton.
No, because I would like to see us go back and do the amendment. I'm sorry. So I think that got out of hand. And I wanted to have clarification because she said, because I think Ms. Lakisi, I'm sorry, I'm going on, said that recommendation, she was taking notes. So I don't know if she goes and makes the changes. That was explained to us. It all got out of control that if she says that that's what our requests are, if she can add that with the approval. Yeah. So I'm just totally confused.
So apologies. So the resolution that's presented to you tonight has your subsistence program that you had put on the project list in October. There's a general administration subline for that, which is part of that program. And then it is the fire hall as a project. That being said, I apologize for not going through the notice of funding availability in depth, but you are only allowed one project. So you can have one project and like two public services or planning, but you can't have two projects. So if you did want to do that amendment, you would have to take off the fire hall.
Okay.
So I apologize for not clarifying that earlier.
That clears it up because I didn't understand that. So I'm glad I asked. So I'll go back and
Councilmember Middleton.
Just go, I'll go back and say a yes.
Okay, Councilmember Claire,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either.
At the end, during our state.
Yes, if you would like to.
I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Okay, so we're moving on to item number 11, city business, which is our planning manager, which is the 2026 Planning Commission work plan.
Good evening. Mr. Elsnap, could you pass out the work plan? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
I'm just gonna test this little remote. Okay, it's not working. So Cindy, I'm just gonna say next slide. I'll let everyone leave before I get started. That's okay. All right, so for any members of the public who aren't aware, the Planning Commission has been inactive since last fall. And so tonight I'm going over the Planning Commission work plan to get it retooled and active again. Yeah, this slide. Thank you, Cindy. So there's a lot on this slide. I've broken it down into smaller pieces, but this is just a general overview of the year schedule for the plan to get the Planning Commission retooled. We've broken it into 4 quarters, and the first one being January to March, April to June, the second being April to June, and so on. Next slide, please, Cindy. Actually, sorry, can you go back? I'll just go over the general year-long timeline for you. So we tried to keep it in a quarterly format. However, you can see that some of the activities kind of blend in between quarters, and that's just kind of the nature of the work plan. So it'll just kind of swim through the quarters, but this is a general 1-year timeline of these activities. And next, I'll go into more detail about the quarterly activities. Next slide, please, Cindy. So Q1 is that January through March 2026 quarter that we're in right now. This quarter is heavily focused on research. So what we really want to do is understand the root issues of some of the challenges that are facing the Planning Commission, and doing so through interviews with council members, former planning commissioners, city staff, even taking a look at other cities' planning commissions and talking to their staff, and really, doing a deep dive and seeing what are the challenges and how can we address them, and then coming back to council at the end of the quarter with those results and an explanation of how those results are going to drive the momentum into the following quarters and those work plans, and how the results of the research will drive those next steps. In addition to the planning department working with the finance department to draft a budget. That's our first quarter. Next slide, please, Cindy. Q2, you'll see it actually spans January through June. This one is really focused on doing a deep dive into taking a look at what the current internal processes are for Planning Commission in terms of what the recruitment process has looked like in the past and what the interview process has looked like, and seeing if those need to be updated. In addition to the ordinance amendments, the current Planning Commission ordinance is very outdated. So that will be one of the activities during this period, is for the planning manager and the city attorney to draft those updates and present those updates to city council. Next slide, please, Cindy. Q3, we're looking at that July through September timeframe. Once again, it kind of blends over into the other quarter. This one is really focused on outreach. So taking the work that we've researched in those first 2 quarters and really developing a strong outreach plan for getting the word out to the public about what is planning commission, when will we be recruiting and doing interviews and taking applications, and even doing an informational workshop for the public called What is a Planning Commission? Because I think planning commissions and the purpose can be confusing if you're not familiar with it. And in addition to that, we'll be developing trainings for the future planning commissioners, ranging from, what a general plan is, a specific plan, what the Subdivision Map Act is, and more legally focused trainings like the Brown Act and CEQA. Next slide, please, Cindy. And then Q4, towards the end of the year, we'll be actually interviewing and appointing members for the Planning Commission and training them and, providing those resources for them to use and be successful during their tenure as planning commissioners. So next slide, please, Cindy. That's kind of a brief overview of the work plan. I didn't go into detail about the individual tasks because I didn't want to bore everyone, but if you have specific questions about the work plan, any specific activity or task, I'm happy to answer any questions. This is mostly an informational presentation, just letting you know, hey, this is what staff will be doing over the course of the next year, and you can expect to have quarterly updates on the progress of the work plan. So I'll come back in a couple months and let you know how these first couple of items are going. So that concludes my presentation. Do you have any questions for me?
Anybody have questions?
I just wanted to say thank you for working on this. Planning Commission, I think, is important, and we need to get it back going, and having it updated is important as we've kind of gone behind on a few things. So it's nice to see we can get some opinions from former council or former commissioners and everybody else. So that should be helpful because, like I said, I think it's important that we get it up and running again as soon as we possibly can. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I agree with James. I think that we need to get the planning commission back going. And by looking at, so it looks like we plan on having staff by the end of the year.
Yes, that's
Okay.
the goal. Yes.
Right. Good.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, all right. I just want to thank you for this comprehensive outline. I appreciate the work that you're putting into it. So at this time, I'll go ahead and open this item up for public comment. As there is no public comment, I will, this is an information item only. There's no action required. So thank you so much for coming in tonight and presenting this.
Thank you.
All right. Item 11F, City Manager Staff Reports.
Good evening, Council. John Elsnab, Interim City Manager. Couple updates for the night. City Manager search is kicked off. We're currently working on brochure development and building that candidate and position profile. I anticipate applications being open soon for applicants to apply. So I think that's positive. Siskiyou Day Crew did some nice cleanup work at Campus Drive. I just want to say thank you to them. There's a lot left to do, and we are still working on the grant. But in the meantime, they went up there and they got about 20 bags of garbage out of there. Really appreciate what they're doing. And they have the training to do that type of work, so that's great. And then there's also been some good work at Greenhorn Park, as I'm sure you've seen some of the smoke. And honestly, I think it's some of the best fire prevention work that's been done in a long time around the city. Fire hall, working on the financing package. I think over about the next month to 2 months, we'll have a pretty good idea on the financing package. It's not just a one-stop shop for financing. You have CDBG, you have federal fundings, you have USDA, you have Padilla's office, you have tax credits. So financing is doing a great job of putting that together, working with Cameron Weist and some of our other resources. Staffing for Public Works, just got a couple open positions, mostly based off regarding a retirement, and we have a promotional opportunity. So we kind of have a chain reaction of staffing. And then police department, I do want to let the council know, staffing hit for getting lateral officers has been difficult. So at some point in the next meeting or two, I plan to bring back some incentives for the council to consider working with Chief Gilman to help attract more lateral officers, as well as academy graduates, which we do have 2 sponsored academy cadets right now going through the COS Police Academy. But we do need to bring on some more folks, and YPD is doing a great job, and they're putting in a lot of extra time for the community. With that said, that's all I have for tonight. And if there's any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Lisa.
Good evening, council.
Good evening, Chief Gilman.
Chief Gilman with YPD. So I came in with my stats for you. Didn't have them last week, so we had a computer issue. I couldn't even get logged in or last meeting. So anyways, for the month of January, even though we're very short staffed, we didn't have any slowdown in calls, which normally January is a slow month for us, but we had 1,590 calls for service. 846 were self-initiated by the officers, which is very impressive to me. It's almost half or around half. Of those, we had 13 felony cases and 28 misdemeanor cases. There was a total of 129 police reports taken that they investigate. We had 45 misdemeanor arrests and 21 felony arrests with 35 citations issued. I want to do something I haven't done before, but I thought it would be important because in December, I ran 586 hours of overtime, I believe, on my department. The guys were getting tired. So I thought it'd be nice to call out a few of them. So for the month of January, I had Officer Bertolucci, Officer El Sasser, and Officer Foster, who did amazing with their stats. They did incredible. So I just wanted to thank them for their work. They had the highest number of traffic stops, incidents taken, cases, and arrests. And also Sergeant Tygart of my 4 sergeants, his numbers were very impressive. So I thought it'd be nice to call it out. And if you guys see them, you can thank them for their hard work. These stats they can change by month. As some people know, you might be on vacation for 2 weeks, or you might end up on a shift that takes you on a Sunday when someone else is on a Monday. So these numbers will change every month, but I just thought it was important to name those officers that they're doing such a great job. That's all I have to report.
Thank you so much. Are there any other staff reports?
Good evening, council. I don't really have a report. I just wanted to do a quick reminder that the February 17th city council meeting was canceled when we approved the 2026 calendar. So the next meeting won't be until March 3rd.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to mayor, council member reports, statements, and requests. I'm going to go first this evening. And Councilmember McCoy, I would like to offer my apologies to you for not being more on top of procedures tonight. And I apologize for bringing us back to the question when you were in the middle of making a statement. And I just want to offer my apology to you for that, as well as to members of the public for not handling that more professionally. So with that being said, last week I attended a C2C meeting, which is the Collier Interpretive and Information Center meeting. And our funding is non-existent. So the center has closed, and the chairman of C2C, Rennie Cleland, has requested the opportunity to come and make a presentation to the city council. So if we could get that scheduled sometime in March or April, I would appreciate that. And then I also had the opportunity to meet with Zach last week, and I can't think of Zach's last name right now, but he is working on a transitional housing project for the homeless. And I think that it's very exciting because he has closed escrow on a piece of property for his project, and is hoping to have a prototype home built soon for all of us to take a look at. So I'm really excited about this project. And I believe that all of you have had the opportunity to meet Zach or speak with him on the phone. I'm pretty sure. What a dynamic go-getter. I just am really appreciative of his talent and his enthusiasm. And I am just, what's that? Clark?
Yep.
Thank you, Zach Clark. And, you know, I just think for a city of our size, we really are front runners and offering services to the homeless. And this is just going to be one more step in transitioning homeless into homes and work. So I'm very excited about that project. And that's all I have this evening, except that this is February, Valentine's Day. And I just want to encourage all of us here this month to practice random acts of kindness. So with that, Mr. Davis?
Well, I don't have any billings for the homeless, but I do have a fire safe council report. How will that do? Okay. It seems like CAL FIRE is doing some burning, and the Forest Service is in the process of burning when the weather is better. And the Yreka Fire Department is using the new fire station area for training, and they like it. Gives them a lot more space than they have got now. And that was discussed. And the one thing that is kind of coming to a head is the Outson Road project, which is cleaning up and making the area around towards my area and the town safer with fire breaks and mastication. And so it looks kind of sparse right now, but you know how it goes. They'll put more stuff in and it'll start greening up and look nice again. But it's just not old brush all jammed up there. Down towards across the street from Rayleigh's, they really have done a great job in there. So that's pretty much what I have to say.
Thank you.
You bet.
Councilmember McCoy?
Yeah, and I accept your apology, and I will apologize to you. I supported what you had put out there. I'm glad we're going to be able to talk before we leave this meeting hall with our attorney, because I think we get more muddy water than we do clear water from the current attorney. And I don't think we've looked at the contract that we have with when's the last time we looked at the contract, Mr. City Manager, with this attorney? I think it was probably in the first year that Jason was here.
I would have to look, Mr. McCoy.
Yeah. So I'd like to see that. I'd like to also see, I'd ask Miss Aldrich for figures on what we're paying out for attorney's fees to one single attorney. And I'd like to see that for our next meeting. And I mean for the time that he's been on board, what we're paying out fiscally. Because again, when we left our past attorney, one of the reasons we left was because we were in the couple $100,000 range annually. As I recall, Councilman Middleton.
Mhm.
Yeah. And we wanted to save money, and I'm not sure we're being served right now. I haven't seen our attorney here at a meeting in, gosh, maybe since November. And I thought we had asked our attorney to be here either the first or the last meeting of every month. So if we don't have a meeting, he can't be here. I understand that. So I was supportive of what you were saying. I am going to say that I'm not supportive of a person who tells us one thing and then tells us another thing, and that's what I feel we're getting from our attorney. And I'm directing this to the council, not to the attorney. So I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just saying this is my perception of what I have seen, and I'll have to go back and look at tapes because I even tonight as he spoke, what I got was one of us makes the motion, the other makes the motion, and then it goes on to vote. And that's not what he was telling us, but that's what I heard the next time he explained it. So, but I would like to all of us to talk with the attorney tonight, including you, sir, here before we leave. I know we can't do it unless we stay in open session. I want to thank Ryan Horvath, Reverend Ryan Horvath. We had a nice meeting. Not while you were, last week. And Ryan's with Teen Challenge is going to be working with our community. He's feeling called, and his group is feeling called they work with the homeless a lot, but they're feeling called to work with the community, and they want to work with us on some small projects, but they're projects that our public works can't get to, and they benefit everybody that lives in Yreka. They're projects at Liberty Arts Park, they're projects at Minor Street Park, they're projects at the Native American Park, they're projects at Lower Greenhorn Park and on Minor Street with the benches. And I want to thank the mayor for working with Mr. Elsnab and myself on this. But I look forward to working with, Ryan's, he's a driver. So, I mean, I said, I'm just there to support you. And he goes, that's great. So, but we had a nice about hour and a half meeting and chatted about his expectations. And I chatted about what our expectations were. And I've also reminded you, Mr. Elsnab, and I reminded him that he's a volunteer. So we are just happy to have him helping with us with his crews, and his crews are all certified, believe it or not. So I think that Teen Challenge is going to be nice to work with those guys. I don't know there are any gals now. There are about 8 of them, but our days to work will be Tuesday, and it will be from 10 to 2 or 10 to 4. 10 to 2 or 10 to 4. That depends on the number of hours. We're not the only project that these gentlemen work on. They work on other projects. They put in 40 hours a week solid on work. So so just be aware. And if you see him out there with Pastor Ryan, stop and let him know and thank him for it. But we're going to start at Liberty Arts Plaza and then move down Minor and that kind of thing, I think, So every Tuesday starting February 10th. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Mr. Middleton.
Nothing to report. Just tomorrow we have the COC meeting, so I'll be attending that. But nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted to say thank you, YPD. You guys are working hard. I know you guys are thin, so keep it up. Try to get some people in there for you, hopefully. Thank you for the crews that are doing the fires, the prescribed fires, the burns, the cleaning up of everything for the fuel breaks. Obviously, with the snow or lack thereof this year, things could get kind of little rough. So everything we can do to kind of protect us more is better, obviously. And I've talked with Mr. Elsnab about Teen Challenge and projects as well and some of the opportunities. And it's gonna be really great to have little things done that will help beautify the city and gives, so I appreciate what they're doing as well. And if you guys get your water bill, the Citizen of the Year ballots are in there. They should be. They should tell you how to go about voting, where you can drop them off at, or you can do them online. And it should have all your information in there. So have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jared?
Yes.
Councilmember McCoy wanted some clarification on the statements on the procedures would like to do that this evening. Is that appropriate?
Yeah, we can talk about that. I'm looking at Rosenberg's rules, page 3 and page 4. And what I've said, and what I want to get clear is Rosenberg's says you can put things, you have a motion, you can have a substitute motion, which is what I was hearing, and then you can have a substitute to the substitute. And when that happens, you take them in that reverse order. The third motion goes first, then the second motion goes, if the third motion fails, and then the first motion that originally started off the whole thing would happen last. That's the basic way to do it. And we can get bogged down to all kinds of other technicalities. And like I said before, I don't know what Mr. McCoy is referring to. There was some reference made to the election or something like that. Rules are slightly different when dealing with the nominations for taking leadership and other roles. But we weren't dealing with that right now. What we're dealing with right now are motions that are on the table and proposing motions, and that's the way to do it. When you get beyond 3 motions, it gets real unwieldy. But the chair can elect to take even a 4th. I think what's important here is that there was a motion, there was a first, and as I was pointing out, if you were to have a rule that said when you have a motion and a second, and then that closes it, nope, we need to take a vote on that. That forecloses all opportunity when someone makes a quick second to have a substitute motion, because 2 people working together could then close all opportunity for an additional motion. Given that rules also say when a motion is had, you can't go back and you then have finality on a motion, that could really foreclose any type of action on substitute motion. So the common and proper procedure is have a first. If someone wants to offer an alternative motion, that first motion dies for lack of a second. So you have a first, you have a motion, you have a first, you have a second, you have an alternate motion, you have a first on that, a second on that, you have a third motion. That third motion dies for lack of a second. What do? You take the second motion, then you go to the third motion if the second motion fails. That's my read of Rosenberg's. You all can read what it says. And again, this is starting on page 3, going on to page 4 of Rosenberg's Rules of Order.
So we can have a first, a second, and a third motion. In other words, I can make a motion, he can second it, she can third it. Is that what you're saying to me?
No, you're completely misunderstanding
But
things.
you're as clear as mud, sir. I'm sorry, I have people in the audience that are shaking their heads. We're trying to understand what you're saying, but we can't. And you're talking about how nominating for an election is different and that there's other things going on. We can focus on this one right now, and then we can talk about how we've done it in the past. But yeah, if you could clear it up, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, you're misunderstanding when we're talking about.
Don't speak in lawyer speak too, please. We're all just plain folk here. We don't have juris doctors. We're not PhDs or juris doctors.
Okay. It sounded like you were getting confused on the word first, second, and third. When you make a motion, you need to make the motion. That's often called a first on the motion. Then in order for that motion to go on, it needs a second. Then the motion is ripe to be voted on.
Which we did. Which we did here. James,
there's no such thing as a third to a motion. That's being cute, and that's being kind of comical in the meeting. And people often say that I third it, I fourth it, I fifth it, and it's a big joke. But in proper procedure, you state a motion, you get a second to that motion, and the motion is ripe to be voted on. Rosenberg's then says you can have an alternate motion or a substitute motion. And at that point, you have to have that motion needs to get right. And what does it require? A second as well. At that point, that motion is right to be voted on. And at that point, also, you can have an alternate motion on that second motion. Now, I've used the word second there twice in two different ways, following two different words. But you have an initial motion, a subsequent motion. Both of those require a second, right? Then we have another motion that could come up after the first one, the second one. Now we have the third one. So I've used the word first, second, and third, just like I used before. Are you clear that we can have 1, 2, 3 motions on the table?
Yes, I'm clear that you can have 1, 2, 3 motions on the table.
Perfect. Each one of those requires a second. We're good on that?
Yes. And
Okay.
each run is ripe to be voted on as soon as you do a second.
Perfect. Not as soon as. It's ripe to be voted on when the first one happens and it gets a second. It's right. Wait a minute. I offer an alternative motion. And I second that alternative motion, says another council member. Okay. Whoa. I offer a substitute to the subsequent motion, which I don't want to confuse anybody's ideas here. It's number 1, number 2. It's second in order, but I don't want to use the word second and confuse you. So first initial motion, subsequent motion, the following motion. We'll call them that in order. Huey, Dewey, and Louie. We get to Louie here and we vote on Louie and it's got a second associated with it and it fails. What do? We go to the Huey, we go to the Dewey motion and it had a second and now it's ripe to be voted on and we vote on that one. It too fails. Then we go to the initial one and we vote on Huey. It fails. What do? We open it up. Someone wanted to do a fourth one, but remember Rosenberg says cap it at 3. Let's stick with just 3 at a time. And so we go back and we do it's again right on open for any motion on the matter. And this can go on. And I remember at a time in our those chambers where that type of thing went on for 7 rounds, right? And there are times where you end up with having multiple motions on an item over and over and over again. We were talking about tonight was a situation where there was an initial motion. The mayor wanted to do a second motion that would be a substitute to the first one, because voting on this one made the first one obsolete. It was adding to it, making it the first one, correcting it. And so it was appropriate for the first one to be right and for someone else to say, I offer a substitute here. That one got a second. Then it was withdrawn. And we can get real sticklers for rules here and get real bogged down in parliamentary procedure of, well, it actually needs to be voted on, all that kind of stuff. If you guys want to do that, we can spend all kinds of time and money on making these meetings go longer on that. It was very clear that wasn't going to go. Then also with Ms. Lucchese's clarification on what the rules are associated with that program, it was very clear then that the subsequent motion would have meant, per the rules, you would have bumped one of your other projects off. Actually, it would have been unclear. So she was proper to come up and explain on that. And that caused that motion to be, fully withdrawn and go away. And you went with your original motion. So I hope this clears it up. Was there anything that was confusing about the words first, second, or third?
Well, let's go back to the question I asked. I don't need to talk about Juliana or anybody. Let's go back to the question I asked. I'm asking about once it has been seconded, once the first motion has been seconded, you're saying that then it's ripe, but it's really not ripe for a vote because somebody else can make a second motion, and then somebody else can second that motion. right? Correct? Just a yes or no. Very simple answer.
I'm sorry, I didn't fully understand what you were saying.
Okay. You're telling us as a group that a person can make a motion for, I'm going to just stick with this, what we're talking about here, what came up at the CDBG. A person can make a motion and somebody can second that motion. And then you said at that point in time, it's ripe, meaning we could
To be
vote
voted on. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. But then it's really not ripe, is it? Because you said somebody else can come in and make a first motion on a second idea, and somebody else can second that motion, and then we have another motion on the floor. Correct?
Correct.
And then it's ripe, but it's not really ripe. Then somebody else, a third person, can come in and make a motion, and somebody else can come in and second that motion. And then that third set of motions that came into play, that's the one that's really ripe. That's what you're telling me.
That's the one that's taken in order. When I say ripe,
No. When you say ripe, you're saying
Yeah.
it's ready to be voted on, sir.
no. Ripe means can be voted on. It's not that it must be voted on because it's ripe and it must, you either need to act on it or do something else. What you can't do is have a motion and then vote on the motion. You have a motion, you have a second, then it's ripe for next steps. Next steps, either you vote on it or wait a minute, let's hold the phone. Let's have a substitute motion here. And it's that next motion. Okay, well, if you voted, because again, if you had someone make a motion and someone immediately second it, like I move that I move that we approve a staff recommendation. Second, for that to happen, someone goes, wait a minute, I've been aced out of my right as a council member to tell you a better idea here. I'm proposing that we have staff that we have the move staff recommendation, but we do something a little different. Because at that point, it's then, you have the ability to offer substitute motions. And it just logically, it doesn't follow that you immediately upon a second, you must take a vote on that motion.
Okay. And so, and apparently I've just not seen it with this council or in any of the 7 years I've been on. We don't typically go, we have a motion and it goes and it either goes to, it fails or it passes. And that's on me. That's on me. So, and I understand. So I want to go back though to times before, and I would have to look, and I will get with John and I'll go online at home and look at some of these. But there have been times when we have tried to, I want to say we've wanted to amend and we've been told we can't. Can you, you've told us that before. You've told us that before as a council. No, you can't do that here. What would be the reasoning for that outside of if we're voting for candidates? You said we can't use it in an election. Because
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. And that's fine because I've gotten mixed messages from you since you came on as our attorney, and I appreciate your job's not an easy one.
Yeah. You've been confused at a number of things I've said. Yeah.
What's that?
I said you've been confused at a number of things I've said. Yeah.
Yeah, I've confused, and you've confused. You're easy to confuse people with. You definitely are, and you definitely can be. You can be as combative as I am. I know I'm combative, and you can be too, sir. So, but I don't make $350 or $500 an hour like you do. I don't charge every 7 minutes. So I don't think you're able to explain this to me. So perhaps I will reach out to somebody else in your office and have them explain it to me. And because you can't seem to explain the whole thing. I'm asking some follow-up questions and you can't seem to explain them. So I thank you very much for your time.
Again, I understand your follow-up question is why did I say something different in the past? And I don't agree with the premise that I did say something different in the past. If I did, point me out to it and then I can analyze it.
Mr. Jared, I'm going to go ahead and end this explanation, this discussion, and I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 8:08 p.m.
All right. Thank you. Good night.